Were you, or were you not, on a gay cruise?
No, you're 120% dick pic.
Everybody that age, they're sperminator.
Yeah.
We don't care about anything else. We're a walking hard on looking for a hole.
That's. I have to say you're right on that one. Oh, my God.
A stiff breeze comes through the room, and you return the favor.
Gonorrhea. No. Somewhere on the outside of this building, there is a hole where squirrels come in.
Better than a hole where dicks come in.
Yeah, better than that.
Going down the stairs to wash the laundry. What the hell? Shh. Pizza. Stop! Stop it now! I order you to stop! I'm still touching myself.
Yeah!
All young bitches want to do is pop pills, smoke weed, get drunk, lay around, suck dick, eat hot Cheetos, charge they phone, get a sew and weave, twerk, be bisexual, eat McDonald's, wash they pussy in the sink, lie, take selfies, and talk shit through Wi-Fi because they phone never on.
I think washing they pussy in the sink is my favorite part. The Vietnamese trade in dongs. Figuratively and literally, I'm sure.
Oh, my God, that's hilarious.
I did decide to look it up. 500,000 dongs is a good night for Pop's ex.
Like most women, he's an emotional thinker.
Good God.
I mean, that's part of the problem we're having now in our society is we have a bunch of emotional thinkers that want the world to, to fall in line with their emotions. That's not... look, reality doesn't give a shit about emotions.
It's my lived truth. Fuck your lived truth.
No, it's not. It's your perspective.
Kiss my ass.
Literally like, hey, Sergeant Pop, you got to turn your bear suit. I'm like, over my dead body. No. Just give me a statement of charges. Yeah. You're never getting this back. Yeah. You can suck it.
I'm going to wear this with my Russian coat.
you will bury me in this. Hey! Why you gotta fucking be like that, man?
Because I'm an asshole, and I learned from the best. I'm sitting across from him, and I'm pointing at you with all four fingers.
All right, first of all, the Russian jacket is World War II surplus.
I'll send you a picture of it, Sarge.
Yeah, okay.
I got you standing wearing it with holding two giant buckets like you just collected all the chum from behind the dump dumpster at the bar, and you're going to go home and make ice cream out of it. Hey, what's going on, you cacophonous Canucks? Welcome to Grunt Speak.
Live from the lair.
Plank, squat, thrust, and rump flank steak at your service, along with Unchained Skid remoting in from the not-so-promised Commonwealth land of Canada.
He's a Syrupian.
A Syrupian, yes.
Oh, the horror. What can we say?
Oh, Colonel Kurt's in the house now, too.
So how's everything in... Still Mexican land.
Still Mexican land. What?
Oh, man.
Yeah,
I'm telling you. Where do we start? Wait,
they're all coming south. I mean, look at the population of Iceland.
Yeah.
Down to what, 400,000?
Yeah.
They'll come in here.
Yeah, well, it's warmer now, but it's April, so that's nice.
Yeah. Although we had one hell of an ice storm up in the UP, I believe.
I heard about
a couple days ago. I saw some of the footage, man. It was like apocalyptic. They had to close down the Mackinac Bridge because of falling ice.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well,
good times.
Just like our good friend. Well, before we even get into the Canuckistan stuff, I have to check back in on our good friend. Speaking of things that are closed temporarily for business.
Oh God!
Everybody remembers the 1,000-man express train, right? Lily Phillips is back, and this time she brought a friend. Lily Phillips's friend is having to have surgery after their gross backdoor challenge goes wrong. So they had a backdoor bonanza, you might say.
All right.
She's gone viral once again with her grossest and most dangerous challenge yet, which resulted in her friend having to have surgery down there. Each of them decided to bed 50 consecutive men last week in the backdoor challenge. If you thought if the 100 guys in a day was bad, this is way worse. And from what I understand, each one of these 50 dudes letting her rip the wrong way up the Hershey Highway was inside of 2 hours.
Yuck.
Wow. All right.
Ugh.
I got to say this, okay?
Imagine shoving like 50 turds back into your ass.
Well, in the Army, I've had quite a few soldiers, NCOs, and officers have to get hemorrhoidal surgery. And they were absolutely miserable.
Yeah.
I bet.
Yeah. Wow.
This person, after 36 hours, is sitting on ice packs. Some people are refusing to believe that it is real. I hope it's fake.
I hope so too.
I genuinely do.
They're way too young for that kind of complications in your life.
And honestly, shame on the dudes who are paying money to gain access to this degeneracy. Stop giving these women your attention and money. Oh, you're part of the problem.
Yep.
The age bracket for that surgery is 48 to 58.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
I did come up with I had an epiphany, what alcoholics refer to as a moment of clarity. Not that I would know about that or anything, but turns out that if you, as a female, get it on with bisexual men, you have gone ass to mouth by proxy. Let's just be honest.
Oh.
And when you get home and you kiss your husband, he's kissing the lips that suck the dick that plowed her in the ass.
It's no longer spit or swallow; it's shit or swallow.
Didn't Eddie Murphy talk about that? Says he come home with the AIDS on the lips. He goes to the doctor.
AIDS on the lips.
Says, Mr. Murphy, I have AIDS. Says, AIDS? I ain't no homosexual. Sure, you're not a homosexual.
Yeah, you do.
That's just gross, Blake. That's just completely gross. That's just ridiculous.
It really is, and that is why this has been today's lump of vomit.
Nice.
We haven't used that one in forever.
It's been a hot minute.
Yeah.
But I think it works just fine, don't you? Yeah, they keep screwing me over there. StreamYard, fix your shit. I used to be able to just go back and forth between these things like no problem at all. Now I have to remove and then add and then remove and then add.
Yep.
Stop it.
Well, we might have to swap out to the other system.
Yeah, that may have to happen.
Because the other system, you can have up to 25 people backstage.
I believe so. Yeah, that's still half of what.
We need to have 50, though. All right.
You got to get up to 50 to go backstage, and you got to stitch all that shit back up in there. Disgusting.
They had her in stitches.
Emragan over on YouTube says, "Can you say prolapse? A rose by any other name? Would shit as sweet."
Nice.
That's just disgusting.
It really is. It's just awful. And ironically, somebody recently sent me another video, that I'm sure that you can touch on as well. And we're going to be talking about what it's like to, be based in Canada, figuratively and literally, of course, in today's day and age. But this right here, I thought you would find this interesting if you haven't seen it, Skid. Third time fleeing Canada to save her life.
I really don't want to keep telling you this story. Here I am again for the third time going to the United States to get faster cancer care. This time because my tumor markers are starting to trend upwards. They're just outside the normal range, and time is of the essence. For those of you who don't know, a year and a half ago I was diagnosed with a stage 4 ovarian cancer, extremely aggressive. I was diagnosed in Canada, and had I waited for treatment there, I would have died. Instead, because I'm a dual citizen, I went down to the United States, where I'm also a veteran, activated medical benefits, and barely saved my life. Barely got treatment in the nick of time. Treated it aggressively, had the surgeries. March of 2024, I was declared no evidence of disease. Unfortunately, this is a very aggressive cancer. 90 to 95% chance of recurrence with this cancer. So we have done everything we can to be as aggressive as the cancer. We've thrown everything at it since I came home, as most of you know, including off-label medications like ivermectin, anything and everything. But it looks like it's trying to make a comeback. So here in Canada, they told me, yeah, maybe we can get you in a CT scanner in about 2 weeks. Meanwhile, the U.S. oncology team said, get down here right now. We can get you in today. So I'm going to be down there. I'll be in a CT scanner tomorrow. This is an aggressive cancer, so we have to be aggressive. There is no wasting time. So here we are on our way to the U.S. again.
I hope she didn't get the vaccine.
If she did, it would explain why it's particularly aggressive, wouldn't it?
Yep.
Maybe so. Yeah.
Allegedly, of course.
They like to go on about how awesome Canada's socialized medicine system is. And it does have some bonuses to it, is true. But it isn't like they describe it. Like the wait times for, like she's talking about, or for surgeries or for MRIs or things like that, are ridiculously long. So we are all equal here, definitely, like good Marxists, but they're all equally waiting a very long time for healthcare. And it varies from region to region. It's actually not too bad where I'm at. That's when my leg's still working again. But it's like, it can be ridiculously long and socialized. Like it's not what the brochure says for sure. I mean, I've been down in the States too. It's not, I mean, that has its problems too. But if you really need stuff, you can get it down there. You're not even allowed to buy stuff up here separately because it has to stay under the socialized system.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah.
Best we can do is kill you.
Yeah, best we can do is kill you.
So I get it. It's yeah, for sure.
Well, I had a friend of mine who passed away in the early 2000s that was a Canadian kickboxer from Ottawa.
Yeah.
Last name Downing. And he died in his house waiting for a procedure. I think it was a heart valve procedure.
Damn.
Yeah. And he didn't make it. That's just the rumor. I don't know the exact details.
So one thing that they very much improved upon here in our healthcare is what they call MAID, medical assistance in dying. So if you want to actually be euthanized, the line's very short for that, actually.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
Yeah. I twisted my ankle.
It's interesting how there's getting some really interesting mission creep on that. So I mean, you could see it for somebody who's in a lot of pain in a fatal disease, you know.
Yeah.
But what if somebody's just depressed, you know, and they're not getting a line? Well, you can apply for this now. It's kind of crazy, actually.
Yeah.
Yep. I love the one lady in particular, the one that just ties my dick in a knot, is the one who was forced by your government to take the poke and smoke. It crippled her, and instead of accepting their role in it, well, best we can do is kill you.
Yeah.
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 Oh yeah. 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 There's a whole bunch of people say, oh, you know, we should all forgive and forget from the COVID era. I'm not forgiving any of that.
Not happening.
No,
never.
Sorry.
Not after what you guys did.
Not happening.
If you want to be forgiven, go to God. All I could do is help you get there faster.
There you go. There you go. Which is not a bad segue. I mean, you might have some more stuff, but if you want to start talking about what's going on up here, that's a great segue as to the difference in politics between the East and West here.
Yeah. There's only one thing that I can do, and I know that this is a homo suspicion point. but I have to show you guys my dong. Right? It was sent in by a fan. He literally sent me a Vietnam dong from 1964.
Nice.
Along with this note here. Blake, it is hard for me to let go of this coin as it is a 1964 coin from the Vietnam War. But because you get such a kick out of dongs, I'm sending it to you for your enjoyment. Ahoy, Captain, from Gary, U.S. Army, retired Master Sergeant. Awesome.
Yep.
Thank you very much, Gary. I'll do my best to take care of your dong.
Phrasing.
Yeah, I'm going to play this and then I'm going to hand it over to Skid. Well,
That's awesome.
all right, Skid. What is it like being based in Canada? I can't even imagine.
It's
all right. Hang on. Before we start, walk me through how you can get a long gun to hunt with in Canada.
all right. So a long gun isn't actually that hard. You want me to walk you through what it was like to get a handgun up until recently?
Yeah.
Or you wanted to start with the long gun?
Start with the long gun first.
Okay.
Size matters.
Right. So you need to get an acquisition certificate. And so you have to take a course. And you have to pass the course, and you have to get a check done with the RCMP. That's our federal cops. And you get all done, and they issue you your little certificate so you can buy your gun, and then you can go down to the store and buy it.
That's it?
That's pretty much it for a long gun, although ammo now has become prohibitively expensive up here. It's ridiculous now.
Of course.
So getting a shotgun or a long gun actually isn't that hard. In times past, you had to register it. That's not going on right now. So that's good. That depends on which government is in power. And right now, they haven't brought back the long gun registry. And where I'm at, Alberta wouldn't even let that happen anyway. But to get a long gun, and then your hunting license is just something separate. It's like any other state would be. You just apply to the province and you get your hunting license. And it's easier whether you're a landowner or not. But a long gun isn't too hard.
But those are bolt action long guns, right?
So we've got just recently our esteemed government has banned just about anything that makes people feel bad. So they call them assault rifles, but they're not really assault rifles. It's horrible. They just say so from the get-go, you couldn't have anything that was more than 5 rounds in the magazine anyway, like 5. It's even worse than California.
Really?
Well, yeah, California, you at least have 10. So it's like, a lot of the semi-autos, a lot of the things that just look like you can't get SKS anymore or anything like that. Just recently, they came pretty close to what I've got because I've got an actual 1943 M1 Garand in my basement there. It's a beautiful weapon. They banned all the M1 carbines on the latest go around. So I guess they feel that they're too short and they can be used as an assault weapon. And they don't like the M1s because of course they load to the clip and that means it's got 8 rounds in it. And there's no other way. You have to put at least 8 rounds in it because that's what fits in the clip. So yeah, they've been slowly banning anything and it makes no sense whatsoever. Like the way the laws were 10 years ago were more than safe enough, but it is what it is.
Well, I mean, you guys are gay up there, huh?
Well, if the shoe fits, right? So now the handguns, on the other hand. So what the Liberals did, when was it? 2 years ago? They were really smart on this one. I got to give them credit on this one. So they didn't come to take away our handguns. What they did was they said you can't buy, sell, or trade a handgun. So everybody who's got their handgun is stuck with them until they die. It's just so nobody new can buy a handgun, and they're not going to come and take away your handgun. But so, for example, I bought a handgun for each of my daughters, and I can't give it to them now because I'm not allowed to trade the ownership, right? And so it's just ridiculous. Now, before all that happened, the way that you would get a handgun is you'd need a restricted certificate as compared to the non-restricted one that I was talking about for the long gun. So it's another course, another test, another show you can do what you need to do, another criminal check, and then you can start getting your handguns, but you have to make sure that you belong to a sports shooting club, like a target range, because otherwise, why would you want a handgun, right? It's not like you would want one for home protection or, anything else. So you have to be part of you have to show that you're part of a range somewhere. And then if you're going to move the handgun around, so it has to stay in your house, locked under 3 locks. So it has to have the lock on the door, can be in a safe and with a trigger lock on, and the ammo can't be anywhere near it. Then if you want to take it anywhere, you need an authority to transport. So you have to call up the government, get an authority to transport. Now, they will issue blanket ones between you and the range. So that's nice. So you don't have to call every time you do that. However, if you want to take it to the gunsmith, you got to call up, get an authority to transport. When I move down here from Edmonton, I have to have authority to transport to move all of them down here. That's what it's like to own a handgun in Canada.
Why are you still living in that godforsaken country?
Oh, because to get my green card, I'd have to work full time, and I don't know if I want to do that anymore.
I gotcha.
See what I mean? Like I do the contracts down there, right, in Mojave, and I could switch that and start working full time for them. But man, they'd own me for 5 years as I do that. So I don't know. Unless there's any lovely ladies out there.
I was going to say, why don't you just find some like,
and then my green card could come a lot sooner. Yeah, a pretty good catch. So
you could just find some like desperate post-wall OnlyFans thought with a blown out butthole, and then you can woo her.
Yeah.
Well, you can get a little.
That kind of answers the question, then, doesn't it?
Yeah,
so
you can tell her that you're Jeff Bridges from like the first Iron Man movie. They'll buy it because they're stupid.
Well, there you go.
So there was another one recently who just fell for she thought that Brad Pitt was romancing her from a hospital bed. And they say men are lovesick, lonely, and pathetic.
That is just mean.
That's just mean. So the segue from what your question is that maybe I won't have to, because stuff is happening up here, right?
Oh, yeah. This I'm really interested.
So hang on. All right. So when Trump came out and said, why are we subsidizing you so much money? We should just make you the 51st state.
Mm-hmm.
And I know of about 8 Canadians. Several of them are dual citizenship. They're like, that's an awesome idea. Fuck that place. It's the hat of America anyway.
Yeah. And as long as you're a Commonwealth of the UK, you're essentially the UK Part 2 Electric Boogaloo. And we know that what's going on in the UK. They're about as illegitimate as a sitting government can get now.
Yeah. Oh, no question there. I mean, when you're getting arrested for thinking bad thoughts, like that's really, really bad. So Commonwealth stuff, not so applicable. The real thing that you want to ask about is the difference in politics between East and West.
Okay.
So the easiest way to explain that is think of your Democrat states, which are mostly coastal, versus your Republican states, which are mostly interior. That's kind of the East versus West. The East they're the more liberal thinkers, and out in the West here, especially in the prairies, not all the way to the west to BC, which is more like California, but out here in the West, we're the conservative types, Republican types. They kind of like want to take care of stuff. Now, generally, this isn't too big of a problem, but now it has become a very big problem. The problem started when Trudeau got in there. Well, it started a long time before that, but got exacerbated because how those guys got elected was very similar to the Democrats down south there. They elect on a program of fear. In this case, the fear of climate change to start with. So other ones, but let's just keep it with climate change just to keep on topic.
All right.
So to understand, to rule in Canada, you need to have a majority of the seats in the House of Commons, which is similar to your Congress. Same idea. So you have to elect a number of member of parliament, which is like a congressman. Okay, how you do that? Well, most of them are in Ontario and Quebec, which is out east. So how do you appeal to those people? Those are the people who you're scaring with climate change. And those people say, oh, we got to do something about climate change. Well, what should we do? Well, we should hobble our oil and gas. Because if we do that, the 1.5% that Canada contributes to the whole world thing will save the world then. Okay, so you get elected by making sure that those people are happy, because it doesn't affect them. It affects us out here out west, because now you hobble our oil and gas industry. You say, you can only produce so much. You can only have so much emissions. You're going to have to pay so much tax for so much emission, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. To make it even more fun, Trudeau's environmental minister was Stephen Guilbeault, who used to be with Greenpeace and was arrested doing stunts for Greenpeace. This guy's a psycho eco guy. And so they kept pounding at our industries out here, and we're just going, okay, this has got to stop. So not too long ago, we elected a premier here, which would be like a governor down there, who is like, okay, we're not putting up with this anymore, and started to say, okay, we're going to make moves, not to necessarily separate Alberta, but to start insulating it from what's really federal overreach, right? Because the federal government should not have a say in how we manage our resources, but by doing that stuff through the back door, pardon the word, is that they are controlling what we're doing, right? And so that's just coming into a big fight. And so this was how this was all starting to happen. It was really because of Trudeau and all kinds of stuff just to throw stuff on the fire. Remember a couple years ago, Japan and Germany coming to us say, hey, man, can you sell us some light natural gas? Which would have been great if we could get it to the market, and then would have been good for them, good for us. And Trudeau says, yeah, no, we can't do that. So instead they get it from everywhere else. And meanwhile, again, it hobbles our industry because it appeals to the Eastern voters. Yeah. So you see how this is going. Yep. All right. So we were all sitting here going, okay, Trudeau screwed up so much. Everybody hates him so much. He's got to finally go. And we were looking forward to this. And in early January, he says that he's going to finally quit. And we're like, yes, that we're going to have an election here soon. We'll elect the Conservatives, which is the right-wing party up here. Although really, compared to you guys, it's very centralist. So anyway, at least it's not crazy left. So we're going to elect these guys so we can get our industry going again. And then two things happen all at once. And then they have a leadership race for the Liberals because Trudeau's quitting, and they bring in Carney. And I will talk all about this guy in a second. And at the same time, Trump takes over down south and starts saying this stuff like the 51st state and the waffling back and forth on the tariffs, and then this tariff and that tariff that. And then, so remember, those Eastern voters vote based on fear, right? So now they got something else to be scared about. Trump's coming up here to make us Americans. Trump's coming up here to destroy our economy, blah, 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 blah. So they start freaking out about all this stuff, and they go back to the same party that's been wrecking this country for the past 10 years. Because obviously, because they have Mark Carney there now instead of Trudeau, it's completely changed, right? So now these guys will be awesome. And so, whereas Polyev, who's our candidate for that right-wing party, was way up here, and the Liberals down here, polls completely go the other way. And now it looks like they are going to, if an election were to be held today, and you could believe the polls, which I don't necessarily do, we can talk about that later, then they'd elect the crazy left-wing party, the Liberals, again to do more damage. So that's where we're looking at right now. And again, they've played upon a fear thing. And so the problem now is, first of all, it's like when your mom says, hey, I'm going to buy you some ice cream, and then decides to change your mind. That's how we all feel it here. I thought we were going to get a conservative government, and now we're going to get a liberal government to make it worse again. So everybody down here is very, very, very upset with what's going on. If it happens, so to answer your question, we're getting there. Just give me a second. If it does happen that we elect a liberal government and they keep on with their environmental policies of hobbling our oil and gas industry like they have done so far, and there's no indication that they won't, Alberta will have to make moves to go towards independence, if for nothing else, to save our economy. And if that should happen, that is going to prompt a constitutional crisis, which could lead to us leaving. And we're probably not going to leave on our own. So what does that end up with? There's a lot of talk around here of joining the United States.
All right, side note.
Welcome with open arms, brother.
Do you have any idea how many actual combat aircraft Canada has?
Yes.
Since you're a fighter pilot?
Well, yes. Well, I did.
What do you think would happen if the United States just said, you know what? I think we're going to go north and just start fucking you guys up. What would you be able to do about it?
First of all, if that were happening here, like, for example, if you mobilized Montana National Guard and just started coming north the border, we'd probably help them.
All right. That's good, because I don't want to hurt anybody. I just want your beer.
Now,
I want your syrup.
now I
Your
don't think
Syrupian.
it's funny to talk about. It's never going to go down that way again because it's all about ROI, right?
Yeah.
And so what would the whole 51st state thing is just, to agitate those idiots out east who can't think for themselves and get fearful of something as just negotiation.
Yeah.
But what is real is, like I say, being able to get our oil to market. And if we can't do that, we're going to have to find out some kind of partner that we can do that with. And guess what? That's you.
So is
Drill,
Eastern,
baby, drill.
correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Eastern Canada where they speak frog?
So that's
Surrender monkey.
So you got Ontario and Quebec, and it is Quebec that does that. Yes.
Quebec.
Yeah, because
It should be Queerbeck now.
I've been over. I used to kickbox out in Canada, out in Toronto, and some other cities. I don't remember their names. But every now and again, they have people like walk up and talk to me in like French, and I'm like, "What are you doing?"
Croissant.
I'm American, man.
So there's a whole bunch of ironies there. First of all, is Quebec has been looking to try and separate from Canada since about 1976, and they almost did it in 1995. They had a referendum, and so because Quebec was prompting that, so for them it's not about money. For them, it's about preserving their language and culture. So they want to be isolated. I'm like, I don't know how separating yourself from the country in a North American continent where America dominates all the business and culture that you think you're going to keep your French language. It's like much more enshrined in Canada, but whatever, okay. So they wanted to do that. But as a consequence of what they did in 1995, it prompted a ruling from the Supreme Court because they asked, okay, can Quebec actually separate? And the Supreme Court ruled on it and said, yes, if you have a well-posed question and over half the people vote yes on the referendum question, then divorce proceedings have to start, basically. And so that ruling is applying. And so Alberta could use that. If we actually had a referendum here, that is actually the constitutionally approved way from the Supreme Court of getting out. So it's just like, wow, okay. And so weirdly enough, Quebec and Alberta have been forging some ties because we both want out of this if it goes down that way where the Liberals get back in power.
Because I'm going to be honest, I would love to watch some Berbers and Boom Booms go down in Canada.
Berbers and Boom Booms.
It would be so, I mean, and so this brings up another point, right? So you're like, when Trump makes his claim about trade deficits and things like that, we've been carrying Canada for a little bit, and just annoys some of the people up here to no end. And I'm like,
it is true, though. I mean,
but there's truth to that. So to your point, Pop, I mean, in terms of defense, it's like, look, if you can't, this is difficult for a military man to say. I mean, imagine you're in my country that deliberately underspends on defense spending and completely depends on their southern neighbor for all of their defense. And it's like, it's true. We don't spend hardly anything on our military and completely depend on you guys down there for keeping us safe in this crazy world. And I'm like,
and that's why I have socialized medicine.
It's like, should there be something? Is that part of a negotiation? Yeah, there probably should be. I mean, so that is true. You look at other things too. At the same time, though, Trump was mentioning there's certain trade imbalances.
Time.
On the one hand, true. For example, dairy, eggs, chicken, poultry, that kind of thing. There's an entire, I'm not even going to get into it because God only knows I don't want them knocking on my door. These guys are powerful up here, but there's an entire cabal that takes care of the marketing for all that so that it is very socialist and nothing is going to touch that. And so, if you want to sell an American chicken up here, you got a problem because you got to go up against.
The tariffs on dairy alone are over 200%.
And listen, it's all fun and games until we have 10,000 tanks rolling north with all kinds of.
You just want to get it on. You just want to get it on. I know.
But the look on your face, the Canadians would be like holding their beer, like.
Alberta would be like, "Hey, can we ride?"
Yeah. It's funny. Now, on the other hand, certain aspects of it are silly. So, for example, and I think he might be facing this because of that ruling that just came out of the Senate. is that declaring a fentanyl emergency from drugs coming across the northern border is completely specious. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. If anything, there's way more drugs coming north from the States coming in the pipeline, and almost every crime committed up here with a handgun was done with a gun that came up here from the States. So if you want to talk about border stuff, yeah.
I'm sure there's a big black market for handguns up there,
dude,
given all the laws.
and so, yeah, every time they commit a crime up here, I'm like, so you're right. It was the legal handgun owner who went through all these steps that did that, or it was the guy who got it from the pipeline in the States.
Exactly.
Anyway, all that to say, there's a little bit of nuance to it, but at the end of the day, if you're going to sit there and complain about some other country putting tariffs on your goods, maybe you should look at home first and get your economy sorted out instead of complaining about what else is going on, and get shit sorted out and then negotiate. And that is the way we think out here. And that is why when this is happening, Danielle Smith was down there with you guys actually trying to make deals and figure stuff out. Meanwhile, in the East, they're being all blowhard about, oh, we're going to do this and we're going to hit back. We're going to do this. I'm like, dudes, you do realize their American economy is like 20 times bigger than ours. And even though they're our biggest trading partner, we're not necessarily that big a percentage of theirs.
No,
what are you
I think you're
do?
13%.
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to do? So instead of talking tough and all that, why don't you try and solve the problem?
Yeah, it just cracks me up when your new BM, we'll call him that instead of PM, because he's definitely a shit talker. He said that Trump announcing reciprocal tariffs, not punishable tariffs, not punishing tariffs like we're just going to do it to stick it to you, but literally just reciprocal tariffs, meaning what's good for you is obviously good for us. That constituted an act of war, but literally saying that he was going to cut the grid to New England and Michigan and everything, leaving millions of people who have nothing to do with this out of power. That wasn't an act of war?
Well, hang on. This is what would happen.
I'm just saying, because if words are violence...
this is what's going to happen because of the trade war that's going on.
Ugh.
In the short term, basically 24 months to 36 months, it's going to impact the United States to a moderate to decent degree. But as time marches along and we start getting our own industry up and rolling, so we don't need to import all of this stuff, the world is going to suffer permanently because we won't be outsourcing all of our goddamn jobs like we used to. We used to have, 30% of our actual GDP was industry here in this country. It's now down to 10%.
Yeah.
So if we bring that up to 30%, hell, let's just take it to 40%. And guess what? The rest of the world is going to be clamoring.
Because inevitably what happens when you get into this sort of a tariff war is, you just like you said, you incentivize domestic production of goods, which in the long run only helps you nationwide.
Yes.
And the leftists don't understand economics. That's why they're leftists. They just think, well, it's going to increase costs. In the short term, yes. But in the long term, you're talking about bolstering an economy from within instead of depending on... Because we say this all the time. Modern women are stupid because they love to look outside themselves at every moment for happiness. It's on you to make me happy. Anything that can be provided for you by somebody else can be taken away.
That's right.
Pure and simple. So it is not smart to be a domestic, a almost solely based on imports. If your economy is built on that, you're fucking up by the numbers.
Well, the left doesn't really understand economics. They never really build anything. They're terrible leaders, and they don't follow their own laws.
No. Well, and like you were saying earlier about all of a sudden, just because Trump, got reelected down here, all of a sudden they flipped on a dime up in Canada and we're going to go back to the same party that was doing them damage for decades. Hey, take a look at Chicago, Detroit, Baltimore, all of these leftoid run cities that have been run into the ground. No one has been uplifted by their policies forever and a day, and they keep voting for them anyway.
I think the word you're looking for is ever.
Yeah.
Well,
stupid.
It's disingenuous because it's not explaining things properly, right? It's like, from a purely economic standpoint, in terms of what costs more, yes, tariffs make things cost more. Of course they do. So you don't put on tariffs for a necessarily economic reason. You put them on for a political reason. In this case, bringing more of your industry home because you want to build up your national base better and also protect yourself strategic assets that way because you do more stuff at home. Okay. So this is why I say, we hope that somehow Polyev, who's our conservative guy, gets elected, because he's a guy who's actually trying to find solutions with this. And as opposed to just going, the states is being all greedy and they're doing all this stuff. Well, look, they're looking after their self-interest. So we can look after ours too, but we can do it by making good deals. Why don't we try and see what we can do to help each other out, knowing that they want to protect this? We got to do this. This is the new way. Trump is not, he's not evil. He's just got a different way of doing this. So let's figure out what we're going to do, as opposed to just blowing hard. Like every time I've heard Polyev talk about what he'd do about the Trump tariffs, it's measured, it's reasonable. He wants to make deals. He wants to figure out how to do stuff. He wants to build up our infrastructure the same way you're talking, and then we can work together again. I don't see what's so difficult about that.
Yeah, because it's up to your government to look after the well-being of your citizens and your economy, and ours is the same way. It is not on us to make the Canadian citizens happy. And that's essentially what we've been doing by allowing, 230% tariffs on dairy, which basically negates the U.S. market on Canadian soil.
Yeah. Well, the left is actually good at producing parasites.
Yes. And they love naming shit for its polar opposite. Affordable Care Act. Need I say more?
Yeah, I think, like I said, in my perfect world, we'd elect our conservative government, we'd work together, and we get this thing going and actually make life better for everybody. We don't have to be all acrimonious about this. We can actually put some stuff together, knowing that the best way to make a deal is understanding that someone else is working from their motivated self-interest. How the hell else do you make a deal? Yeah. But
so Skid.
All it's done, just let me finish for a second. All it's done with these crazy people is they just want to fight. And I'm like, fight what? Do you understand what you're even talking about? Anyway, okay.
No.
Go.
So Skid,
these are the panty-fascists. They think they want to fight because they're stupid enough to think that they can win.
Well, and the one last thing about that is these are the same people, and I was mentioning this before, 2 years ago, they were taking down Canadian flags. They're taking down the statues of our founding fathers and going, oh, yeah, we committed genocide. We did this. We did that. You can't put your Canada flag up on Canada Day. Blah, 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 blah.
We did the same shit down here.
Anti-patriotic. But now we're all patriotic and rah-rah Canada because, Trump. I'm you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, the same people.
Where do you guys get the hell off?
The same people down here just crack me up, man.
Anyway,
Skid, how many dicks do you have to suck to get elected down there to be the PM?
Well, I don't know.
I'm just curious.
That's one of those questions that they ask you in family court, right? Like, there's no good answer to that, right?
So if you had a knife in your back and a dick in your ass, which one do you take out first?
Well, so have you stopped beating your
take
wife?
out the knife and cut the dick off.
I'll tell you what you do have to do, though, is you have to win Eastern Canada, which means Ontario and Quebec. That's the only way that you're gonna get elected here, and that's what drives the West crazy. Because the polling is already finished out east. We can all vote here, and it doesn't even matter because the election's already been determined.
So you guys need to get the hell out of there.
It's an electoral college. It just cracks me up how all of a sudden that argument went away after Trump won the popular vote and the electoral college vote. They were talking about abolishing it for years because you had numerous presidents being anytime a conservative president was elected going back, I don't know, and I think just after Reagan, they always lost the popular vote but won the college.
Yeah.
And that's because it's not an even distribution of power. It's just mob rule when it's nothing but democracy.
Well,
I agree.
Well, first of all, if they get rid of the electoral college, all of the states in the middle of the country are no longer going to participate because their interests will not be heard or followed or even considered.
Yep. If they did that, the next American Civil War would be the breadbasket and then the coasts.
36-38.
Yep. What in the butt, baby?
It'd be 36 to 38 states against all the other ones.
Ugh.
That's not a good setup.
It's interesting because that alignment just keeps going straight north, right? Like if you go north of Montana and North Dakota, you hit Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba, and that's your conservative base right there. Whereas you got BC is like very much like California, same kind of thing, and then out east, more like your metropolitan eastern states as well, with the exception of the Maritimes. Maritimes don't really count when you get into them.
Yeah, so Congo and New York.
You got BC Butts and Cox.
Actually, you know what BC really stands for is bring cash.
Bring cash.
Because the taxes are so, it's like California. The taxes are so high to live there. It's ridiculous.
Screw it.
Yeah. The Western Canada is basically made out of, what is it? Idiot steam from California in Washington State.
Well, the West Coast, yes.
Yeah, the West Coast is just the lunacy and the moron fog just goes north, and it seems to be enveloping your country as well.
Hey, Pop, we have a dude in the chat, the Elder, apparently hasn't tuned in before to know about your theory of the 36 to 38.
All right. So I keep, for the past like 8 to 10 years, the number 36 and 38 comes up all the time. I see it in license plates. I notice it on addresses. I know they're very common numbers. I dream about these numbers. I have no idea what they represent other than they have something to do with a conflict that's coming up in the future.
Doesn't a constitutional convention require 36 or 38 states?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
And I know there's like 12 states which are solid blue.
Yeah.
But 12 states that are solid blue are not going to be able to turn back 38 states that, want them to fall in line.
38 states that embrace their Second Amendment rights instead of, cower in fear from them, that produce most of the natural resources that those 12 blue states depend on for their very livelihoods. Correct. So,
here's the thing, though. Even in those blue states, they're dominated by 1 to 4 cities. The rest of the counties, the rest of those states are solid red.
It's very true. There's a big divide between urban and rural. And I really see that every time I go down to California. Like rural California is nothing like LA.
Oh, no. I'm pretty sure Jericho Green's from rural California. That dude, I love that dude. Hey, Jericho, if you're out there and you happen to be watching, I would love to have you back on the show again, bro. Because
let's send him an email so we can get him on the show.
Yeah, I sent him your book. I never did follow up with him to see how he liked it.
Okay,
but he's a busy dude, so
yeah, he is.
Yeah, he started doing this full time because it got so popular.
Good
for him.
Good, I like it.
Yeah. Speaking of popular, I know that this is something that I probably should have mentioned very early on in the show. Obviously, we have to raise a glass to fallen comrade Val Kilmer. Finally lost his battle with throat cancer, from what I understand, age 65 and out plan.
It's a good run.
Yeah, Iceman, he can be my wingman anytime.
Exactly.
As a result, though, even though the winner for Asian April was Kung Fu Hustle by only about 1 or 2 votes, with a strong second-place finish from Enter the Dragon, which will be reappearing in the polls come September, Second Chance September. In memory of Val Kilmer this Sunday, we're going to do Tombstone. And then Kung Fu Hustle is going to get pushed to the second movie night of the month. Just want to make sure everybody out there who is a supporter knows that. If you haven't supported the channel yet and you want to join in for one of the movie nights, it's only $5 a month. Hit the link tree in the Meat Gazer box. You can join us on Locals, Give, Send, Bro, or Subscribe Star. Sign on up, and we usually have a pretty good time. Dear Sarge loves to join us for the movie nights, and you all know how you love him and his fecal freak phonics.
Nice. Tombstone is a great movie.
Oh, hell yeah.
So what I don't understand in Canada is your PM steps down, they appoint another one, and is there going to be an election, or what's going on with that?
Oh, so let me regale you on the awesome thing called the parliamentary system.
No, sorry.
So let's keep this fast and funny. Basically, whoever's got the most number of seats in the House in their party gets to, in the House of Commons, gets to rule the country. So whoever's the leader of that party automatically becomes the prime minister. So the Liberals have the most seats in the House of Commons. However, they do not have a majority. So the only reason that they haven't been voted out and have to have an election is because the NDP, which is even the further left party, has kept them in power this whole time. So when Trudeau stepped down, he's not the leader anymore. They have a leader. Oh, and by the way, in the middle of all that, they prorogue government. So what they did was they say, oh yeah, nothing can happen for the next 2 months. Bye. And so they leave. Nothing can happen. They have their leadership race, and then government starts again. Meanwhile, while the government is prorogued, Trudeau is still making executive decisions on stuff that needs to happen for the country without any voting going on. So who's the dictator again? Anyway, so
he's the dictator.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so when they decided that Carney was the leader of the Liberal Party, who has never been elected, doesn't even have a seat in the House of Commons, he's the new prime minister.
Wow.
Just like that. And now he didn't even have to call an election. At that point, there's a mandatory rule that you have to call an election at least every 5 years, although the ruling government can call an election whenever they want. So that 5 years was going to be up in October. They could have kept going till then, but they saw the polls go so high because all those people out in the East were afraid and hating Donald Trump. So they decided, let's call the election right now because we can win it.
Wow.
Yeah, I have no idea.
That's how the parliamentary system works, my friend.
Yeah, fuck that.
And then I have a video here that's perfect for describing direct democracy in Canada with the parliamentary system.
I'm in debt, I'm obese, I'm addicted to anime porn, I live in my mom's basement, and I'm confused about what gender I am. Now, let me tell you how to fix the country.
There you go.
Yep. There you go.
I think she nailed that one. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the people I want to listen to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so here
and
we
these
go.
are the ones who live in Montreal, Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, and not a single one of them has a damn clue about anything. They haven't taken accountability for anything in their lives, but they know how to run this country.
Well, if you
Absolutely.
have not done anything with your life and you have no experience, how the hell can you be called upon to be a leader?
Absolutely. Thomas Sowell has a great quote. I saw this on Twitter recently and grabbed it because I thought that this perfectly sums up the modern left.
He's the best author ever.
Oh, yeah. Activism is a way for useless people to feel important, even if the consequences of their activism are counterproductive for those they claim to be helping and damaging to the fabric of society as a whole.
Yep.
So you can stuff 50 dicks in it in 2 hours.
Wow. That's a lot of dicks.
That's a lot. That's what your ex said.
Have you read some of his books, Thomas Sowell?
I have not, no, but a hot damn.
I would recommend to you and the audience, there's two that are really good to explain what's going on. The first one is called The Conflict of Visions. And it'll explain to you that it's not really left, right, Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative. It's constrained, unconstrained. And so the unconstrained people think that they can fix everything. They can fix human nature. They can fix this. As long as we tell you what to do and you do it, things will work. Constrained people think that human nature is what it is. And if you want to make something happen, make an incentive structure to make people do that.
Evil hairless monkeys.
That's essentially capitalism in a nutshell.
We're all constrained thinkers here. So that's the first one. It's called The Conflict of Visions. And the other one, too, if you want to get on about tariffs and understand how the economy works, Basic Economics, Thomas Sowell. It's a long read, but by God, does it explain everything that the government keeps doing wrong all the time.
And they're doing it wrong on purpose. That's why tax law, especially here in the U.S., is so nebulous. All right. There's three tiers. All right. Smart people can explain complex ideas in a very simple way, and they do that to be helpful.
I.e. the grunt.
Stupid people overcomplicate simple ideas to make them complex.
West Pointers.
Yeah. Evil people deliberately make simple things opaque in order to control you.
Yes.
Hence, we used to understand that male and female, as far as multicellular organisms are concerned, is a universal constant until just the last 10 years.
Yeah. Despite the fact we have 8 billion people on the planet who have set the example of where they came from, they dropped out of a meat suit or a meat sack, which we call the vagina.
Vagine.
But somebody can feel a certain way And they're like, well, I'm a woman today and a man tomorrow and a woman. I'm sorry, it doesn't work like that.
No. That's those useless people again.
Yeah. Are you having the trans problem in Canada?
Oh my God.
Oof.
It, you know,
Looney
it depends. It depends where, right? So like I say, we're very conservative around here. Nevertheless, yeah, it's an issue. I would say that maybe not as polarizing up here as it is down there, just because people take these crazy sides down there, like, oh well, this is this 250-pound man calling himself a woman while he gets to compete in women's sports. It's not quite like that, but it's like that video you showed. It's like, well, here I am, and these are my opinions, and therefore I can run the country. I'm like, okay,
no,
maybe not. Unconstrained
so
thinkers. What are you gonna do?
And what's funny is that they're always the ones. Well, I mean, but 20 years ago, it was the left who was saying follow the money. It was them who was actually quoting 1984 mostly correct.
Yeah.
Now they're the ones who are regurgitating the party rhetoric, and they don't even see it.
They are.
It's scary.
1984.
Yes. Yeah. Because I'm sorry, if you can look me in the eye and unironically say that men can deliver babies, that they can give birth to babies, I have no reason to listen to anything else you have to say.
That's absolutely correct.
Because you are trying to convince me that my own eyes, ears, biological reality, and experience are totally wrong because you feel a certain way.
Yeah.
Because of reasons in fictional vagina.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the unconstrained point of view is like, okay, if I feel it works this way, it works this way. And the real problem is when it comes to dealing with these people is us as constrained thinkers. When we look at someone unconstrained, we just think they're woefully misguided. It's like, you don't understand how this works at all. But we don't think
they look at us.
But when they look at us, an unconstrained looks at a constrained person, they think you're evil.
Yep.
So it's completely okay to wipe us out.
Yeah, you're killing people because
So
they have a different opinion.
It's nutty, man.
Yeah. You're taking women's rights away. Which rights?
They can't answer it.
No, that they can never. The only thing that they go to, abortion. Well, abortion was never a right. Show me where in the Constitution it was written that you have the right to murder an unborn child just because it's not the right time.
Yeah.
Well, if it's not the right time, close your fucking legs.
That's right. Listen, you know how stuff gets in there. You know how it comes out. By the time you get to that stage, you kind of understand that whole process.
Oh, yeah, a little bit.
So if you get to the point where it's going to become an issue, you've been fucking up by the numbers.
A little bit. Maybe they're fucking for the numbers.
I don't know.
Look at Lily Phillips.
Yeah.
These women honestly believe that betting 128 dudes means they're a hot ticket item in marriage material. No, it just means you're easy and you lack any semblance of impulse control. And impulse control is essential for a functioning civilization because we're evil, hairless monkeys and we usually don't make the right decision the first time. And most of us are still stupid enough to do the wrong thing. Or the only time we do the right thing is when somebody's looking. Just because you want credit for it.
Or if you want a virtue signal.
Yeah, virtue signal. Well, virtue signaling is it's like an excuse. It's the maximum range is the length of your penis or 0 meters.
Or if you're a woman, it's everything outside the circumference of your tits.
And there you go.
You know who had a great thing on this was Anthony Jeselnik. I was watching one of his old comedy skits, and he was talking about how, like, if a disaster happens or something bad happens, people have to get on their Facebook or whatever and go, hey, I'm really supportive of this, or I'm doing this and that. And he says, nothing you put on there makes any difference. The only reason you're doing that is in the midst of this tragedy, you're saying, hey, I'm important too.
Yep. Pretty much.
That's all there is to it. And I thought, damn, nailed it.
Mm-hmm. Blue-haired freak was marked safe from misidentified Nazi salutes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly.
Anyway. That's very accurate.
Good times, huh? Good times.
But then again, these are the same people who claim it. It's not gay if you suck on it because it's a woman's penis.
First of all, that whole trans ideology is nothing but a dangerous obstacle course to gay land. And during that obstacle course, you lose your kecking balls and your titties.
Yeah, this is the only. It is a disease. Let's be honest. It is a mental illness. It is a disease. It is the only. It is the only ailment that we treat by making a perfectly healthy body match a sick mind.
Yep.
Usually, we used to understand that you're supposed to fix the mind to match the healthy body.
Yeah.
And now, not only is that how we fix it, but everybody's supposed to play along.
But here's the thing.
That they won't join the fantastic 41%. Oh no, as long as we just, encourage them.
Yeah. If you are one of those guys, and this is an actual mental illness, where you believe a part of your body needs to be cut off,
which is a tiny fraction of everybody out there professing at BTW.
Yeah. And you say that to a psychologist, you're going to get the I love me coat. You're going to get your 2 cups of medication, one in the AM, one in the PM, until you stop thinking that way.
Yep.
But if you're like, well, this mean, evil punis and dick brains need to go. Okay, let's just let's just grease the ramp that goes right to that pit of poop wound hell, and let's just be on with it.
Yeah.
I can't remember what comedian was saying this, but he was saying, I want my sons to grow up stronger, so I want to start being able to give them steroids and TRT and stuff like that, even as they're growing. And he says, well, apparently that's illegal. But what I don't understand is if I was claiming he was a girl, then I could get drugs to block all that stuff. So why can't I add it? Just say it, And I thought, that's an interesting take on that, isn't it?
And that's literally the same drugs that they use to castrate pedophiles.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hilarious. Yeah. Oh, but it's totally reversible. No big deal.
Yeah. It'll work out.
It'll be fine. No big deal.
What could go wrong?
What could be wrong? The thing is, this affirmation is really we used to understand that, hey, we're usually not going to make the right decision the first time. Age and experience is what makes us wise. And we all used to agree as well that, telling the schizophrenic that sticking their head in the microwave will make the aliens leave the planet was a bad idea. But this is not the first time that this kind of thing has been happening. Modern women have been doing this for years. And here's a nice video that sums it all up neatly in 1 minute and 13 seconds.
All right.
And then I slept with his dad.
Hey, check out CJ.
If you really love me, you would delete all the girls in your contact list.
That's crazy. Even my mom?
Especially your mom.
What? You know what? I am done with you. Goodbye.
So pathetic.
We should say something to her that'll ruin her life forever.
I know just the thing.
Hey, CJ. We just wanted to tell you something.
It looks like another man broke up with you.
And we wanted you to know he didn't deserve you anyway.
He didn't?
No, you're the best thing that's ever happened to him.
Yeah, you're right.
You deserve to be treated like a queen.
And nothing you did was wrong. Everything is his fault.
You really think so?
Yes. Don't change anything about you.
You're literally perfect.
Wow, thanks, guys. I was just about to self-reflect on all my failed relationships and take a long, hard look in the mirror. But instead, I'll just keep blaming all my dating problems on other people.
Exactly.
So you see, lying to your girlfriend makes you look like a good person, while also decreasing competition in the dating pool. If you told your friend the truth, she might improve herself and find a more suitable mate than you. So instead, just lie. It'll make her feel better and allow you to marry a better husband. Telling your friends the truth, not even once.
Wow.
That is great.
And let's be honest, as far as the Looney Tunes are concerned, this is everything that's going on. Most of the people out there who affirm your identity don't believe it themselves.
Well, they've actually hijacked the medical term dictionary, and they don't even consider the trans ideology a mental illness anymore.
Yeah.
In that same dictionary, you look for delusions, and that's still in there.
Yeah.
But that doesn't apply to you're born in the wrong body. I'm sorry. I know we keep going back to this, but it seems like there'd be more troons in Canada.
It's
I'm guessing in like the densely populated, just like here, the densely populated areas is where you're going to see that.
it's like I say, I live in a country town, and that's on purpose. There's a tiny little town in the middle of the prairie here, and everybo's armed, and I love it here. It's just really nice.
I'm just saying, I do not like green eggs and ma'am. I do not like them.
That's another thing I did on Tuesdays.
I will never go bobbing for Madam's apples. You will never see me doing it.
On Tuesday, I did 2 rants of Dr. Seuss rhymes.
Oh my!
And Steve is like, "Could you just stop that?" I'm like, no. That will not happen.
Yeah, my favorite quote's always from The Cat in the Hat. It says, "It's fun to have fun, but you have to know how."
There you
Every
go.
time you see somebody pile in somewhere, and they didn't know how.
It is what it is.
There you go.
So yeah, that's the story from over here. Do we? We should probably go faster, funnier. Do we have something funny to say after all that depressing stuff?
I don't know. All my backup stories are pretty damn depressing, but I do have a letter.
Okay.
That we've been sitting on for a little bit. It's called A Green Beret's Unlikely Lifeline. How SM Pop twice pulled me back from the brink.
All right.
Does that count as 2? He says, looking back on my life, feels like a collection of stories ripped from the pages of an action movie, a war documentary, and medical drama all rolled into one. As a retired Green Beret, a sergeant first class whose name I'd rather keep private, I've seen things, done things, and endured things that most people can only imagine. But within that tapestry of intense experiences, there are threads of darkness that linger, moments when I felt utterly lost and on the verge of succumbing. And surprisingly, there's one person who, in 2 very different ways, helped pull me back from the edge each time. The Popster. The first time was during a period I'd rather bury deep, a chapter I can't fully erase despite my best efforts. I was on convalescent leave, medically retired from service after one too many deployments and physical traumas. To put it bluntly, I was a complete wreck. The physical pain was a relentless tormentor, a dull, throbbing ache that never truly subsided.
I know exactly how that is.
It was a constant companion, a grim reminder of the sacrifices that I'd made and the battles I'd fought, both seen and unseen. But the physical pain was only half the story. Emotionally, I was shattered. The experiences of war had left scars that ran deep, invisible wounds that festered and poisoned my soul. I was haunted by memories, plagued by anxieties, and consumed by a sense of isolation that felt suffocating. Medications they prescribed, a cocktail of SSRIs, antipsychotics, and opioid painkillers, were supposed to alleviate the suffering, to dull the edges of my trauma. Instead, they felt like they were turning my brain to mush and leaving me trapped in a fog of disassociation, disconnected from myself and the world around me. I was spiraling downwards, lost in a vortex of despair. The fog thickened, the pain intensified, and the darkness deepened. It got so bad that I started contemplating the unthinkable, entertaining the idea of ending it all. I won't delve into the specifics, but let's just say I was standing precariously on the edge of a very bad decision, staring into an abyss that seemed to offer a twisted kind of solace. Then one day, in a moment of listless desperation, I found myself mindlessly scrolling through YouTube, desperately seeking some form of distraction, anything, to momentarily escape the crushing weight of my existence. And that was when I stumbled upon the video Purple Heart's Final Beat. I still don't know what compelled me to click on it, what mysterious force guided my hand, but I did. And as I watched, something profound shifted within me. I can't fully articulate the power of that moment, but the raw emotion in Pop's voice, the unflinching honesty in his words, the sheer force of his message, it resonated with me on a level that I hadn't thought possible. It was like a jolt of lightning that cut through the fog, a beacon of hope that pierced the darkness. He spoke of his own struggles, his own battles with pain, loss, and despair. He spoke of finding truth in vulnerability and of embracing hope in the face of hopelessness. And as I listened, I realized that I wasn't alone. That my pain, however unique it felt, was part of a larger human experience, that others had walked this path before me and found a way to survive, to heal, to find meaning in the midst of suffering. It made me stop and think, to reconsider the path I was on. Maybe my problems, as overwhelming as they felt in that moment, weren't insurmountable. Maybe they weren't worth throwing everything away for, abandoning all hope of a future. It sounds dramatic, perhaps, but in that fragile moment, that video was a lifeline, a small but precious sliver of hope when I had none. It reminded me that even in the darkest of nights, a single spark can ignite a flame. Driven by a newfound sense of purpose, I embarked on a mission to connect with Pop. It was a long shot, I knew, but I was determined to express my gratitude and perhaps seek his guidance. After some persistent digging, I managed to find a way to contact him. To my surprise and immense relief, he was incredibly kind, compassionate, and understanding. We talked, shared our stories, and he listened with genuine empathy. He even gave me a number within his regiment of those he had helped, a testament to his dedication to supporting his fellow vets. This was years ago now, and honestly, neither of us can even remember what that specific number was.
He's probably in the 115.
Yep. His new official number is 560.
Okay.
I have to say, yeah. Yep, number 560.
All right.
All right.
That was a good letter, man.
Yeah, oh, there's more.
Oh, okay.
So, but the fact that he took the time to connect with me, that he offered his ear and his support, that alone made a profound difference. It was a turning point, a catalyst for change. I started to climb back slowly, painstakingly, but steadily out of that dark hole. I sought professional help, weaned myself off of the debilitating medications, and began to rebuild my life brick by agonizing brick.
Yeah.
It was a long and arduous process, but I persevered, fueled by the memory of that video and the kindness of a stranger who had become an unexpected friend. Years passed, and I thought I was finally on solid ground, and the worst was behind me. I had found a sense of purpose in my retirement, dedicating my time to helping other veterans navigate the challenges of transitioning back to civilian life. I'd even started to find joy again, reconnecting with old hobbies and forging new friendships. Then came the second blow, a devastating diagnosis that threatened to shatter everything that I had worked so hard to rebuild. The doctor told me I had cancer, small spots on my lungs and pancreas, lurking like silent predators waiting to strike. It felt like the ground was collapsing beneath my feet, the hard-won stability of my life crumbling into dust. The fear and uncertainty flooded back, threatening to drown me in a sea of despair. The familiar darkness crept in around the edges, whispering insidious doubts and anxieties. I started treatment, but it was grueling, a brutal assault on my body and mind. The prognosis wasn't exactly encouraging, the doctors offering guarded optimism at best. That's when I remembered Pop again, his voice, his message, his unwavering spirit. In a moment of desperation, I reached out to him, not knowing what to expect. He didn't hesitate to respond, offering words of encouragement and support. But then he shared something with me that, well, it changed everything. He told me about some recipes that his friend had given him, recipes his friend had used to fight his own battle with cancer.
Goat belly.
He called it Jedi juice, a somewhat whimsical name for a concoction that held the potential to be a powerful weapon in my fight. I was willing to try anything at that point, and I had nothing to lose and everything to gain. So I started making the Jedi juice, meticulously following the instructions and sourcing the ingredients. I also learned how to make quinine, another element that Pop believed could be beneficial. It wasn't easy. The Jedi juice tasted, to be honest, pretty rough. A potent blend of bitter herbs and pungent spices. The process of making quinine was time-consuming and demanding, but I was determined. I took both of these things every day, religiously adhering to the regimen. And then, something incredible happened. About 4 weeks later, I went back for scans, bracing myself for the worst. But the results were astonishing. The doctors were amazed, bewildered, and, quite frankly, a little dumbfounded. The spots on my lungs and pancreas, gone. Boom!
Wow.
Completely vanished. They couldn't explain it. They ran more tests, double-checked the results, but the outcome was the same. The cancer was gone. Now, I'm not a doctor, and I'm not going to tell anyone that this is the cure for cancer. I can't offer any guarantees or make any claims that haven't been scientifically proven. But for me, in my experience, something remarkable happened. I believe that the Jedi juice and the quinine, combined with the conventional treatments, played a significant role in my recovery. I still make and take quinine every single day, a ritual that has become an integral part of my life. I'm also fortunate that the VA now prescribes me ivermectin, another medication that I take daily, hoping to keep the cancer from ever coming back. It's my way of fighting, of staying ahead of the game, of taking control of my health and my destiny. Looking back, it's clear to me that Pop has been an unexpected guardian angel in my life, a guiding hand that appeared in my darkest moments, twice he intervened in ways he probably doesn't even fully realize, at times when I was at my lowest and most vulnerable. The first time with a message of hope, a beacon of light in the darkness, and a second time with information that for me felt like a lifeline thrown in the dark, a chance to fight back against a seemingly insurmountable foe. I was one of the very first members of the regiment, and in a way, I feel like I've seen the power of community and shared experience firsthand. It's more than just music or laughter. It's about connection, about hope, and about finding strength in unexpected places. And for me, Pop and the community around him have been those unexpected places, offering help and hope when I needed them the most. I'm eternally grateful for his kindness, his compassion, and his unwavering commitment to helping others. He's a true testament to the power of the human spirit and the importance of community. Your friend with kindness and immense gratitude. Redacted.
First of all,
wow,
not a nice guy, and I'm not a good person. You know, that compassion stuff, that's just an act.
Such a dick, bro.
Don't tell anyone, please. Just an act.
We should say is that the guy really knows how to write. That is an extremely well-written letter.
Yeah. I wish every story that we got for this show was as well written as that one.
But how many times have I said this? Like, no one's riding to the rescue. Not even I. I don't have the resources. All I can really do is ride by, throw out a bag of fucking tools.
Yeah.
So you can, build your own apparatus to get the hell out of there and not get syphilis.
You got to be your own knight in shining armor.
That's right.
Most of the time, no one's coming.
That's right.
It's absolutely true. We can help each other out, but man, when it comes right down to it.
I mean, I wish I had a couple $1 billion to my name. I would overturn the apple cart of divorce court in a heartbeat.
You ain't kidding.
I would be they'd have to assassinate me. I'm really...
And let's be honest, everyone who actually had the best interests of this country at heart, that's usually what happens.
That's right. But listen, that was a really good letter, man. I don't usually get swampy-eyed over shit like that.
Here, you want a tissue? You have a cock instead.
You got to throw him your dong there, even though your dong's a little small, I got to say.
Because it's white.
Yeah. I mean, it came in a pink envelope.
Ooh, doesn't it usually?
Yeah. I went and got all of the mail. Like, I got all the mail, I think, yesterday.
Not bad.
Unless you're one of those 50 guys, in the case, it's not a pink envelope.
Wow. And we get, every now and again, I'll get people who are like, yeah, can you send me the anti-cancer thing? And I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I have it bookmarked in my email.
Yeah, and I actually tried to, get goat belly.
Yeah.
To actually,
I want him to come on the show. But I know he's an evil genius. He's a busy dude. I get it.
No. He's just done.
He's done?
He is burned out, walled out, and stalled out. I mean, he did all that military time. He spent almost 10 years in Afghanistan as a military and contractor.
Ah, damn.
And now he lives in his little compound in Texas.
He's just
like, I'm putting that all behind me. I spoke my piece, and we're good.
Goomba Gary's in the chat. The guy who sent me the dong, he's like, I chose pink on purpose, Blake. I bet you did. You wanted to stuff your dong in a tight little pink envelope is what you wanted to do.
Yeah, I might actually...
One last ride for the Vietnamese dong.
I might actually drive down there to hang out with old Goat Belly. I haven't seen him in forever.
It's awesome, man. Hey, well, you ever want to go down there while I'm in Texas visiting the fam? It's a big-ass place, but... Yeah, I got two branches of family down in Texas. My bro lives down there in Corpus, and then my wife's family all lives over in West Texas.
Yeah, but he was on my LURS team back in the day, right?
Yeah.
And this one operation we're doing, basically, it was a 3-day, drill for the National Guard.
Mm-hmm.
But they would drop us off, and we had the whole map sheet of Grayling, and they'd drop us off in the far left of the map sheet. And okay, we're going to pick you up in the upper right corner on Sunday. Make it happen.
Do it.
And it was November. We're walking, and it starts raining, of course.
Of course.
And it's 35 degrees. We're all right on the urge of hypothermia.
Ooh.
Instead of stopping, we just walked all that night and half the next day, and then we put together a camp, and we just waited to get picked up by the trucks.
Win-win.
And it's raining. It's freezing cold. Like, we're trying to start a fire, and it was like a whole team effort. Like, I pulled out like the old DEET mosquito juice because it's flammable as hell. Totally carcinogenic.
Oh!
But our hands are so frozen. Like, I am holding the book of matches, and Goat Belly's got both his hands, and he's just like,
Yeah, exactly.
and then he looks up and goes, "We're gonna die, aren't we?" And I'm like, "No, let's keep going." So finally, we get it going. We get the fire going there, and we're like, "Ah!" And that night, we heated some food, and we're underneath. We call it a hooch. It's basically two rain ponchos, and I'm laying there, and he's trying to eat, and it's just pitch black, and I feel the tuna and noodle envelope on my face, and then the spoon is like as he's eating it, and I'm like, "Are you almost done?" He goes, "Yeah, why?" Because I can feel the spoon on my face. And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Or maybe it was just shaped like a spoon.
Ooh.
That was a rough one, man.
I said the only thing worse than waking up to find like a dick drawn on your forehead is finding out it was traced. Okay.
That'd be bad. And he's the one that burned his crotch. Basically, his BDU crotch, he basically burned it off. Luckily, he didn't burn his tube steak.
Ugh.
But he's literally standing over the fire, and I'm like, "Hey, you're going to catch on fire. I'll be fine." I look away, and all of a sudden I hear rolling around on the ground. And now he only had one uniform, so it's like nothing but bare nuts and burnt skin. So we're like waiting to get picked up by the truck, and finally I'm like, "Hey, Goat Belly, can you put a sock over that thing?" So we put a sock over his junk, and we're getting in the truck, and the other guys, from the platoon are like, "So what was going on this weekend?"
I mean,
Oh my
I
God.
can't imagine, like, because like one of the first reactions that anybody has when catching on fire is to try to smack it out.
It's over
right?
his nuts.
Like it's on your nuts. You're like, oh. You get that 3-second delay before the pain hits. Oh, I'm still on fire, motherfucker.
He made this like mouse squeak, like, and he like jumped into the air, and I just heard the. He must have slapped his groin about 100 times before he hit the ground, and then rolled it out.
Funny.
I'm like,
Oh my God.
I'm like, "Dude, are you gonna need a skin graft?" He's like, "No, the hog is fine."
just give me a tube sock and a scrunchie.
I told him, I'm like, he's walking around. I'm like, "You need to cover that up,
I
man.
don't want to look at
Put a sock over that shit."
it. Meat gazing by proxy over here.
He was the combo guy, and he was awesome at it. That was pretty funny.
We love you, Goat Belly. No homo.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Hope you're enjoying your retirement, good sir, and I hope that I hope all the hair grew back.
Oh, it did. He's fine. He's fine.
Am I missing an eyebrow? We got some chats that we can read here before we take our break and jump on over to new tech. Shark dentures, Canada-inspired Futurama self-Minecraft booths. Yes, or maybe the other way around. Who knows? Oh, excuse me. Bone Dust Crew, good to see you. Been out of the loop for a while. Do you have any news on Chief Kikabich of the Slapaho Nation?
Nothing.
No. I've got people combing the internet with their sniffers out. I've been looking. I've even given out his real name to a few people trying to find him, and nothing.
Than likely, he's probably
more than
gone.
likely he burned in from getting he got COVID pneumonia, and he was in the hospital during the last 2 emails that he sent. He claimed to be on the mend, but we know sometimes you can start to feel better and then crash.
Yeah.
So no luck finding an obit, nothing.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Crazy.
maybe even the name that I have
Might not be right.
might not be his real name. So it's a damn shame. All I know is that, you know what? At this point, I might as well just put it out there. The name that we had was Lawrence Kubanski, and we knew that he lived in Texas. That's all we knew.
That's all we know. Yeah.
And that's if that is in fact a real name, because doing tons of searches for obituary pages and everything, I couldn't find anything.
We found a bunch of fuck all.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, got a pile of fuck off and eat shit. Apparently, damn. I hope that we're wrong. I hope he is okay, and he just life happens, and so does shit. Apparently,
Yeah, eat shit is the dessert for fuck all.
Yeah, and then usually that's followed by die. Sean St. George, government looking out for their people. Let me laugh even harder. Yeah, governments look out for their donors now. That's what happens when you can unconstitutionally collect income taxes on money you didn't fucking earn. Kiss my ass. El Snows, there have only been 3 U.S. presidents to win the Electoral College but lose the popular vote. Rutherford B. Hayes back in 1876, I think. George W. Bush in 2000. I believe he also lost the popular vote in 2004.
I don't
could be
remember.
wrong on that one. Because I know that it came down to Ohio in 2004, whereas in 2000 it was Florida. And Donald Trump in 2016. Yeah, I knew that most of it had been since Reagan. Those 2 examples, and everybody wants to, well, it's just democracy. Well, we don't live in a democracy, you dumbass. That's why they stopped making kids say the Pledge of Allegiance in schools. It had nothing to do with under God. It had everything to do with kids knowing for the republic for which it stands.
Correct.
That's why. Nefarious Demology. Pop, you should put together a video or a downloadable link so that everyone can benefit from your alchemist knowledge. He's an apothecary.
Yeah,
apothecary.
I have all kinds of
apothecary
supplements and stuff.
That's a tongue twister and a half. I shouldn't have even attempted that one.
Well, it's better
apothecary.
Than the word abomination. Get it? Obama.
Abomination. Yes. That's why I call him Barack Obama, because we all know Big Mike is rocking the big meat.
There you go. I wouldn't mind getting that recipe from you too, there, dude. That'd be.
I will forward it to you.
I would appreciate that. Thanks.
No problemo. We
Jedi juice.
Jedi juice.
And Goat Belly used that to get rid of bone cancer.
Yeah,
which is next to impossible to do anything about.
But he did it.
Other than saw your shit off.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I when I was shooting athletics up at Oakland University, there was a swimmer up there who already had beaten bone cancer, but they had to remove her entire femur and replace it with a steel rod.
Jesus!
Wow.
Yep, and a total knee replacement as well.
God
but
damn.
She was back in the water swimming and she could outswim me in a heartbeat.
Damn.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not awesome she had cancer, but
she beat it though. Yeah, I did interview her for ESPN. She's a really awesome chick.
Cool.
Speaking of awesome, though, Crunch Muncher sent in a Hyundai and says, for the captain and the gay crew, keep on sailing. Well, thank you very much, good sir. I'm going to play this one for you.
Thanks for keeping the ship afloat. It's much appreciated. Goodbye.
And Susan McCarley sent in 61 for my birthday tomorrow because me. Well, happy birthday to you, Susan.
Thanks for your continued support.
Happy Vaginal Turd Day.
And HKC says, donated 5 and says, love your first book, Killer of Killers. You can buy it right now. You go down into the link tree. There is a link to all of the Amazon books there. You got these the people that's what is it called? The Warrior's Way, Soldier's Soul, and now you have 3 Jericho files. Read them, pick them up, and don't put them down.
Yeah, give them a good review on Amazon, please.
Yes.
How about said as Christopher Walken though? Schwarzenegger was good. However, your Walken is
you're a fan of my Christopher Walken impression. I get it, but I can't do it all the time. It gets old, like me.
Yes. He's like 82 now, isn't he?
Yeah, he just celebrated a birthday the other day. I want to say he's exactly 82 years old.
I haven't watched Severance season 2 yet, but apparently he's in there, just still giving her.
Good for him, man.
Oh, good.
I mean, hey, man, Paul Newman gave one of the best performances of his career in his Sunset years as the mob boss, Mr. Sullivan, in Road to Perdition. It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Oh yeah.
I just saw Clint Eastwood in The Mule, which was a while back, but I mean, he's in his 90s there doing that.
And he's
movie.
still directing.
He's kicking ass in that movie. It was great.
Yeah, I heard Juror Number 2, the one that he just directed, that apparently they were going to try to keep it out of theaters, became so popular they did give it a theatrical run. It's been getting phenomenal word of mouth.
What's the name of it again?
Juror number 2.
I'll have to look it up. Okay, cool.
Check it on out. All right, it's 9:25.
All right.
I think we need to go empty our squirrel bladders and jump to new tech. What do you think? Plains Warrior sent us a waving kitty with a $2 donation. Thank you very much. Jimmy Bones is in the chat. If you don't mind pasting the links where dudes can finish up the rest of the show with us, we're going to read more super chats, show you guys some better butts and some more funny videos. I want to say I have 20 or 22 fucked up but funny submissions for tonight, of course, including the wrap-up Wheel of Woe, which we just love watching pain and being inflicted on other people.
Yeah.
Just how we roll. You going to stick with this, Skid?
Oh, yeah. Can I put a little plug in as these people are taking a break?
Hell yeah, absolutely. We do have a link to your channel in the Meat Gazer box, so if you haven't subscribed to Skid yet on YouTube, do it now.
Do it now. We got lots of cool stuff for you there. Reading my latest story, you can look at it from various places in California. It's very nice.
This sounds fantastic.
Yeah, fantastic.
You sound just like him.
You're not sending me to the cooler. All right,
Get to the chopper.
Predator. One of the perfect 80s movies.
That was a good one.
Gotta love it.
Yeah.
That movie will turn you into a sexual tyrannosaur like me. All right, dudes. We'll see you over on New Tech in 5 minutes. Links are in the chat over on YouTube. If you haven't joined us on New Tech before, give it a shot. What do you got to lose except your virginity?
Unfuck your life.
Yes. I promise we won't shove 50 dicks in your ass.
Phrasing.
Look like you got a baboon strawberry down there. And with that lump of vomit fresh in my throat, see you in 5.
All right.